Oftentimes, the computer-generated imagery, or CGI, and special effects that we see in superhero films are some of the best in the industry. However, not all superhero projects are created equal, and sometimes filmmakers drop the ball. So stay tuned and don't go away, because we're about to reveal the worst CGI effects in superhero movies. First up, how has CGI technology evolved over the years? You're about to find out. Contrary to what you might think, fans haven't always been impressed when it comes to superhero movies. Superhero movies have come a long way over the years, and the advancements and improvements in computer-generated imagery technology have enabled filmmakers to bring superheroes to the big screen like never seen before. CGI technology has clearly come a long way, and the evolution of CGI technology and the specialized skill of the artists behind the animation can be seen in a plethora of superhero movies. A number of comic book adaptations over the years have helped to reveal these improvements. But one of the best ways to see just how far CGI has come is not to watch the best CGI films, but the worst. Some of the worst CGI in superhero films are found in Daredevil and Elektra. Many fans felt the films looked more like video games than movies. 2003's Daredevil film saw the famed superhero team up with the assassin known as Elektra, and in 2005, Elektra starred in her very own spin-off film. Unfortunately, both films have some seriously weak CGI, and the poor CGI gave comic book fans a poor viewing experience overall. Daredevil featured fight scenes with lousy CGI, and even a computer-generated rat on New York streets that looked really bad. Elektra featured a few villains from The Hand with abilities like Tattoo, whose CGI tattoos never felt genuine. Next up was the CGI from 2011's Green Lantern, a pass or fail. Let's take a look. Famed actor Ryan Reynolds played protagonist Hal Jordan in 2011's Green Lantern, and we can't fault Reynolds for the film's poor CGI. One of the strangest choices made by filmmakers in 2011's Green Lantern was to use an entirely computer-generated costume for Reynolds. To be fair, on one hand, the choice made sense, because all of the alien members of the Green Lantern Corps were fully rendered alongside Ryan Reynolds' Hal Jordan. But unfortunately, the costume ended up looking like some weird artificial skin. Fans thought that Green Lantern's mask looked bizarre, and it distracted from the film's big moments. Not good. Also, the complete CGI design of the villain Parallax was viewed as deeply flawed. So all in all, Reynolds' performance in Green Lantern was a pass, but the film's CGI was a big fail. Another film that suffered from bad CGI was 2005's Fantastic Four. Some say that Reed Richards' stretching ability was the worst CG power in the entire Fantastic Four franchise. There were two separate attempts at adapting Marvel's Fantastic Four, and both films struggled with using CGI to bring Reed Richards' stretching ability into live action. The rest of the Fantastic Four hold up pretty well and stand the test of time. However, Mr. Fantastic's stretchy arms were terribly done. 2015's Fantastic tried to use a bulkier costume to help hide the unnatural look of Reed's elasticity, but 10 years earlier, 2005's Fantastic Four had some seriously bad CGI that seemed to get even worse in 2007's Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Up next, where did filmmakers go wrong with DC's 2004 film Catwoman? Let's find out. According to fans and critics alike, 2004's Catwoman featured computer-generated climbing scenes and artificial cats that made an already bad movie even worse. Halle Berry played Catwoman in the film, and to this day, it's considered one of the worst superhero movies ever made, for several reasons. Bad CGI scenes weren't only part of the problem. The CGI cats didn't sit well with audiences, but a CGI double for Catwoman appeared as she jumped and crawled around Gotham City. 2004's Catwoman featured several poorly done green screen backdrops, and these backdrops made the film look cheap. The film's screenplay also wasn't great, and Berry's performance was far from her best. Moving on now to another example of bad superhero CGI is 2017's Justice League theatrical cut, starring Henry Cavill as Superman. Villain General Steppenwolf looked really bad, and so did his army of parademons. But the one thing that really upset fans was the use of CGI to remove Henry Cavill's mustache during reshoots, as he was also filming Mission Impossible Fallout. For many fans, the scenes featuring Superman's digitally redacted acted mustache are nothing but cringeworthy and impossible to ignore. 2021's release of Zack Snyder's Justice League improved upon the mistakes of its predecessor and removed these scenes while also improving Steppenwolf's overall design. Stay tuned and don't go away, because we're about to reveal more superhero films with eye-rolling CGI. Next up was Ang Lee's 2003 film Hulk, a pass or a fail? You're about to find out. Director Ang Lee's 2003 Hulk adaptation tried to blend mediums and give audiences a fresh new take on a comic book movie. Most fans absolutely loved the film. However, there were numerous complaints about the film's CGI. Fans were displeased with the transformed versions of the Hulk, and in the battle with the final villain, a version of his father that was merged with the Absorbing Man. The special effects in Hulk don't hold up when compared to the more advanced CGI versions of the character in the MCU, and things like the cartoonish Hulk dogs in their battle with the Green Goliath just didn't sit well with fans, even though most loved the film overall. Ang Lee's 2003 film starred Eric Bana and Jennifer Connelly, so as far as Hulk's CGI is concerned, the film was an epic fail. Another film with shockingly bad CGI was 2016's Suicide Squad. The film brought a ragtag team of improvised supervillains together on a top-secret government squad to deal with metahumans following the loss of Superman in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. The film's main villain came from within Task Force X itself, in the form of the ancient witch Enchantress, who escaped from prison and freed her brother Incubus, who, for much of the film, was a fully animated character. The squad took over Midway City, but filled it with faceless, corrupted soldiers and civilians. These CGI extras all shared an identical design and failed to leave an impact on fans. Sometimes, it's the little things that can make or break a film. Up next, where did 2009's X-Men Origins Wolverine go wrong? Let's have a look. 2009's X-Men Origins Wolverine carefully explored the beginnings of the popular X-Men character Wolverine, one of the most beloved characters of the entire X-Men franchise. The film centered around Wolverine and the experiment that coated his bones and claws with the almost indestructible metal known as adamantium. Unfortunately for fans, the special effects didn't stand up to Wolverine's other appearances in the famed X-Men franchise. Logan's newly coated claws appeared to float above his hands, and they failed to match the look of the adamantium that was previously seen on the big screen. In the end, fans were disappointed with this entry in Wolverine's cinematic franchise. Another example of poor CGI usage is 2002's Blade 2. Legendary director Guillermo del Toro put his own spin on Marvel's Vampire Hunter with Blade 2 and introduced fans to the ancient ruling family of vampires who used what were essentially vampire ninjas with high-tech gear to do their dirty work. When the ninjas first encountered Blade, there was an epic fight scene with some pretty awesome martial arts on a sunlight-filled battlefield. Unfortunately, the CGI scenes made the expertly choreographed fight scenes look really bad, and that's why Blade 2 was ultimately a failure. Finally, what is the worst example of CGI in the history of superhero movies? 1997's Spawn film featured some of the worst examples of CGI in the history of superhero movies. The film was adapted from the popular Image Comics character created by Todd McFarlane. Spawn tells the story of a murdered US Marine who makes a deal with the devil to return as one of the devil's dark enforcers. From there, Spawn's main goal is waging war against heaven. The Spawn film placed a great deal of focus on the special effects of his hellish costume, which was all well and fine, but the concept failed to match the capabilities of the technology at the time. The film's practical costume effects were impressive, but Spawn's CG cape and hellish enemies failed to impress fans in theaters. We've just looked at some of the worst examples of bad CGI in superhero films, but what about the best examples? Let's look at what fans and critics call the finest example of superb CGI usage in a superhero film. 2012's The Avengers was before Infinity War and Endgame, but without Without it, superhero mashups would have been a one-time thing. In fact, were it not for 2012's The Avengers, the mega-popular superhero mashups we see today wouldn't have happened. There are countless scenes throughout 2012's The Avengers that stand out. The SHIELD helicarrier fight in the Battle of New York featured the most characters who looked incredibly authentic and real. The Hulk was finally brought to life the way he should be, thanks to Mark Ruffalo's excellent performance. But using specialized motion capture animation, the film was a masterclass in how filmmakers could use CGI for maximum impact. That's a wrap for today's video. Thank you for watching.